time we've all been waiting for. First of all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day.
Yeah!
I know some of you are here by choice, some of you are, dragged out here, so we really appreciate you guys joining us on the last day of the first NostalgiaCon ever. So without further ado, let's get your panel guests on the stage. Coming in, no, I'm just kidding. So, you know him as Psyduck, Metapod, Charmander, and more importantly, Blaine Michael Haigney!
I was just hoping you got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Everyone's favorite cat. I don't think you need more introduction than that. Matthew Sussman! All right, without this gentleman, Ash would have never had his journey started or no mission to go off of. So, coming up to the stage next, Stuart Zagnit. Everyone's favorite nurse, Megan Hollingshead. And without further ado, the favorite trainer in everyone's hearts, Veronica Taylor!
So nice to see you all.
Oh, we have one more that has been added, but last but not least, Lee Quick! Don't do anything on bad while she's on stage, or you might get arrested, guys.
Officer Jenny.
Officer Jenny, welcome to the stage. All right, guys, we're here. Let's get it going. All right, first
You
question
guys,
for the
first
panel,
of all,
guys.
thank you so much for coming and supporting the first year of NostalgiaCon. It means so much. San Antonio is an awesome city, and you guys are the most awesome crowd of all. So thank you so much for being here. We did it! Happy Mother's Day. Happy Supporter Caregiver Day. What's your question?
So, first question for the panel. Did you think doing this show would take you as far as it's taken you right now when you first went in to record for that character? We're gonna start over here on the ends.
Not a clue. First thing I said was not a clue. I got an audition through Michael Haigney's now wife, who said, quote, Michael's auditioning for a weird Japanese cartoon. And I was like, I am in. And that was all I knew, and then it grew and grew.
I knew from the very start.
I'm actually quite disappointed in where it's taken me. I thought it was going to make me very, very rich. But I also, the only thing I knew about Pokemon, and I don't remember why I knew this, but when I also, when Kate, Michael's wife Kate, was stage managing a play I was doing and said, you want to audition for this animated thing, and I found out that it was this thing that in Japan had been causing seizures in children from all the fun. So that was the only thing I was on guard for. But yes, no, it's been a surprise and a delight all the way through.
Thank you. For me, I also hadn't the slightest idea. There was no Japanese anime around at the time, and a buddy of mine who was a former actor and now he was an attorney said, this friend of mine, he's working on this new anime show and he's looking for character voices. He says, so give him a call, tell him you're a friend of mine, and they'll set you up an audition. And I said, yeah, hey, it's a job. I'm excited. So I went in and did a bunch of voices, and one of them was this eccentric professor. And a couple weeks later, they called me and said, we'd like you to do it. And I said, great, maybe I'll have a job for a year. And 25 years later, here we are.
I too had heard about the seizure episodes, and I somehow still auditioned, so I don't even know how we found out, because back in those days, news was handed out on a slate, and you had to read it with chalk. So I don't know how we all found out about it, but it certainly has been the most incredible journey of my life. And looking out and seeing how Pokemon has affected us all just in t-shirts is pretty cool.
You guys are all amazing, by the way, and I couldn't be more grateful to be a part of such a wonderful experience that has grown beyond us. And the one thing I will say is that I don't think any of us really knew where this was going. I do remember being with the first movie, and we all kind of were like, oh my gosh. And so thank you guys for being a part of it.
It's incredible.
Does anyone in the
Well, Pokemon is the community. I mean, that's why it's lasted this long. We are here as a part of it, just like you are. So it's incredible.
Can I ask one favor? Is it possible we can dump the music? Because it's really hard to hear ourselves. It's coming out here.
yeah, can you cut this right here? Sorry.
We don't need underscoring to talk to you.
We dub other
There you go.
people.
I think it's off
so.
now. Does anyone know the episode that caused the seizures, by the way? Right there, the tie-dye, Rob.
Oh yeah, it's the Cyber Warrior Oregon or something like that.
There you go.
And just one question, how are you feeling now?
Ask my wife.
So kind of picking off that first question, how did you get involved into voice acting originally? Let's start on that end.
My dad actually was the voice for Armed Forces Radio in New York. And so I grew up recording with him, with little voices. And then I went to TCU and graduated with the BFA. And I actually took lessons and had recordings on cassette tapes that I think I sent to you, Michael. I did, yeah. And so that's how I got started. I was auditioning for, it was one of the things I actually wanted to do.
I started acting when I was 5. I went to college and grad school for acting. I toured the U.S. One of my jobs when I got back, when I moved into New York, was for the Batman stunt show at Six Flags Great Adventure, and I got to do the voiceover for that, for Chase Meridian and Spice, and those voices were used at the stunt show around the country. And so, and then I had to dub, like, as we were in the stunt show, I dubbed to myself, you know. Anyway, so that was my first, like, paying gig, and then I had an audition recommended through an acting coach that I had for an anime, and then they asked me to audition for something else, and so it kind of just expanded out from there.
Okay.
I've always been, first and foremost, a theater actor, which then branched into commercials, TV commercials. I was dentist number 4 in a Trident gum commercial. What's 4 out of 5 dentists recommended? What's with the 5th dentist? And I was the one that slapped dentist number 5 in the head with a clipboard because a fly flew on his forehead. And then I started doing some freelance voice acting, like I did. If you like prices, 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 and prices, 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 then play Bring It All Home from Acme, you know? And so I dabbled in voiceovers, and like I said, this one chance meeting with a friend of mine was life-changing, because this to date is the longest continuous voice job I have ever done, so. And I'm thrilled about it.
I have no idea how it happened, except that I went to this place to audition for this particular show, and had a very strange idea for a voice that I thought probably the director and producer would probably, you know, have me, you know, arrested after, and instead they said, "Oh, okay, that sounds good. We'll have you do the part." And that's how I got into it, and it was out of the blue. I was doing theater, doing film and TV and stuff, and then Michael came into my life, and everything went downhill from there.
I feel exactly the same way, man. Well, as any of you have heard my performance, I'm not an actor. I was hired to adapt the scripts and direct the actors, and sometimes, because we had very good actors, they would finish early, and I would jump in and say, "Oh, there's a little rat, I'll just do that." And for a lot of the characters, they were one-offs. They were just on one episode and then gone. But then some of them, like Charmander, Psyduck, Cubone, and you know, a lot of them, it's like, oh, they're in one episode and then the next in the movie and everything. So I'm kind of different. I'm not an actor, but I was just lucky enough to have actors that finished early, and that's why I did the voice.
And you don't have to tell us.
Also, I just wanted to say that a lot of the great lines that everybody quotes, Michael wrote. So that's a good thing to remember.
Applause to Michael for the one line.
Michael had the very hard job of writing to flap.
Yes.
So he would have the translation and try to make it fit. But sometimes when he was up late trying to cram it in, we would get little notes on our script that said DYB, which was short for do your best. That was great. So I've heard so many stories of how much people were inspired by their love of anime that you've now gone into voice acting. And my story was a little bit similar in that I loved sci-fi adventure movies so much that I wanted to crawl into the screen and be a part of it. And I originally thought I would be in some sort of crew capacity, and then I went to film school and discovered that I didn't want to make any films. I wanted to be in my friends' films. And so eventually it led me to acting and living in New York where we recorded Pokémon, and doing theater for like no money. And so when I got the chance to audition and do voiceover, and wow, I can play characters that physically I don't resemble. And I can be totally different than what I am on the street. It was like closing the booth door behind me and just playing. So voice acting just became this magical world for me, and it was just a really great fit. And I was lucky enough, I mean, it's insane when you think about it, that I got an audition for Pokémon and suddenly I'm a voice actor. So I think one of the gifts of acting is that we learn to say yes. And I'm so grateful I said yes on that day, and I continued to hustle. So I continue to, like, marketing is probably way over 50% of the job. Continuing to try to meet people and sending in tapes and finding subtle ways to remind producers you exist. And yeah, so I keep doing it for the love of it.
Awesome answer. Yeah, thanks for that one. So I know over the years you guys have done hundreds, maybe thousands of different shows, events, private signings. What is it like meeting these people and hearing stories of how like a singular show has almost, changed millions of lives, and hearing different stories like that? How does that make you guys feel?
Humbled. I have to say that meeting people has been incredibly life-changing for me. I think the fact that we all come together for a love of something, in this case, Pokemon, and we already feel like we know one another because we share that love, and then we find out that we have so many other things in common. So it's like the two paths coming together, and then we leave on one path together as friends. And it has been amazing to travel around the world. Everywhere, Pokemon fans are truly the most generous and kind and interesting and creative people. And it's just changed my life in terms of how we connect and how I feel I have to live a better life to be as great as you are. So yeah, life-changing.
Besides doing, when you do live theater, the audience, just like you're sitting there and you're responding to what we're saying immediately. So you get an immediate reaction and immediate communication with the audience. When you do voice acting, you're in a little bubble, and there's a director and there's a technician, if you're lucky. Now, so a lot of people do it at home by themselves, and you never make a contact with your audience. So all those years we were doing the series, we were doing it in a very private, insulated environment. And when we come now to these cons, we are realizing the response that work we did those years ago impacted on all of you. And I can't tell you how gratifying it is to know that, because we didn't know really what the reaction was. We knew the popularity of the series, but this is the kind of response that tells us we did okay, and it makes me feel really good about the work that we did all those years ago. So.
It's hard to know what to add to any of that. I think you guys put it so well, and I just really started this year doing shows, so I had not met my fans, or fans of the show, I should say, in person before January. and I was immediately I was surprised at how touched I was and how delighted I was by people's response, and how I realized, well, if I was meeting people who had a kind of positive impact on me when I was growing up, or I was going through a difficult time, or whatever it was, you know, for me, a lot of those people were actors, maybe in movies, or musicians, great singers and musicians and stuff, and I would just like that connection it's like always with you, and it's been amazing to meet people. And yesterday, right at the end of the day, I have this one particular very beautiful print that we made for the show that's very peaceful, and it's not the typical Meowth kind of, you know, hysteria, and it's very sweet, and he's playing guitar in the moonlight, and a gentleman came up and he was deciding what to get, and he saw that, and he started to cry, and I was like, me and my pal Cindy, who was here, we were just both like could barely speak. It was so lovely, and so those moments are, you know, creating memories for me to go forward with in my life. So it's great. Thank you.
I saw that guy. He was crying when he saw the price, man. Just wanted to clear that up. Megan?
Same. I'd like to echo everything everybody said. Leah used the word humbling, and that's what it is. Like as an actor, I was taught to be a good listener, and so in a way, I'm a stand-in for the show, writers, directors, producers, the illustrators, and I'm proud to have let it come through me in small ways that allow a sort of connection, a direct connection. So that's a really amazing role that I get to play. So thank you for that.
Awesome, great answers all around. We got 2 more questions that we're going to open. I know you guys are dying to ask. From all the work you've done, what is like the biggest takeaway that maybe you learned about yourself, about life from doing the shows that you've done? If there's something, you know, that's something.
I would like to say that I think it's a testament to, you go in, no matter what you do in life, you go to work, you give your 100%, and you go home, and you just don't know how far that action, even holding the door for someone, that kindness will ripple out. And here we are, 25 plus years later, and look how far this has rippled out. And that's something, it doesn't matter what you do, what you say, your words are powerful, your actions are powerful. And think about it, and look, we've ended up here together. Keep a sense of humor.
Yeah, and doing a lot of live theater work. I mean, I worked with inspiring actors, and when you do long runs, it's possible to get bored. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to get bored, because I always tell myself, the people that are coming in today for this show haven't seen the show before. So I can't give them my 100th show. I have to give them my first show. That's it, where I'm listening and responding, and give them those qualities that are gonna make an experience for them. And I think when we did this series, it was all fresh. There was nothing to compare it to. It was a new genre for us. And like I said, the best reaction I had was in the booth, if the director would laugh, or the guy running the board. And I said, okay, you know, we could feel a certain energy, but it was it took it from that room then to the audience, and then the real response happened. So I think it's humbling for us to know that it has had that staying power, and it eggs me on to do more, and to keep doing my best work, because you never know where it's going to lead.
Anyone else? Want to pick up on that?
I think it's just, for myself, the fact that a year ago I wouldn't have known that I was going to have this experience that I'm having by traveling around overseas and around the country and meeting people, and and just receiving all this great feeling. It's just a classic thing of stick around. You never know what's going to happen. And I saw Anthony Hopkins talking on some interview the other day on Instagram, and I think it was Jimmy Kimmel asked him if after his 80 years, what would he say to people that he'd actually learned? And he said the only thing he could think of was never give up. And it's just you just hang in there and you do it. You never know what life's going to bring you, and this has brought me this great experience, and I hope to continue to do more.
I think Anthony Hopkins learned that from Ash Ketchum.
It might have been Michael. I'm not sure. Michael, was it Anthony? Was Tony Hopkins involved in your?
I don't have to say that. I just agree with what Matt said.
Meg, you want to answer that real quick?
Well, I learned a lot of things. In a practical way, I learned, Michael taught me a ton of things, on that first audition. I don't know if you remember this, because I auditioned for all the parts, and one thing that threw me off, and I didn't figure it out till much later, you kept saying a Morgan Fairchild voice. And I was like, Morgan Fairchild, she's gorgeous, she's blonde. I don't know. Hi, I'm Morgan Fairchild. I'm very stiff blonde. But then I heard Rachel Lillis do Jessie, and she was all over the place and very musical, and you could almost hear the blonde hair tossing. So I was like, that's what he meant. Yes. And then he said, okay, to do a little boy voice, you're gonna make your voice a little scratchy and very enthusiastic. And I'm not the best, but then I heard Veronica, and I was like, oh, that's what he meant. So just on a very practical level, not a very deep level, I learned all that.
Awesome. Thank you for those answers. Last question. Whether you were in it or not, what is your favorite Pokemon episode? Start over here on the end.
Oh God. I think it's the Squirtle Squad. I was laughing. I think that was probably my favorite because it had such a sense of humor, and there were some really cool scenes where, if I may, I know it's about your favorite, but there's a lot of scenes that were kind of life lessons for people and children, and some takeaways that were very important. One of them for me that really stuck true was Butterfree before Butterfree, and Misty didn't like Caterpie, and Ash is like, no, give it a chance, and
It's not that nice.
yeah, but you know what I mean. But it still was about giving it a chance, right? And so I think that was a very cool, subtle way to teach people and children a sense of acceptance.
Appreciation.
It's awesome.
There's a lot of lessons like that. My daughter and I started our podcast because it's about all the lessons that we've just kind of learned and along the way, and so to talk about the good stuff like that. But my favorite episode is the first, because I think it really lays out who Ash is and what this journey is going to be about. Really, just you may not get what you want, but you make the best of it, and look what can come from it.
Yeah.
So I think every episode gets better and better. The first is my favorite, and plus we had a lot of lines together.
Yes, that was this was so, Ash is coming in, Ash is late, and I'm running the show, and
Your show, man.
and I'm really not making it easy for you. And if you listen, I mean, the secret is that I was still finding his voice, and so it's not as oaky as it had become. I grew into that. The show informed me a lot, and the funny story, when I was recording one of the first video games, I was with an executive from Japan, from Nintendo, who did not speak very much English. So I'm laying down tracks. I'm doing a lot more lines for about a few minutes, and all of a sudden he gets on the mic, and he goes, no, and I go, what? And he goes, oh, okay. And I'm sitting there going, what does he mean? What does he mean? And suddenly the light bulb, and I went, oh, he's talking about the crack in the voice that I would put in. I didn't even realize I was doing that. And as soon as he said that, I never had to question how to do the voice. It was suddenly, so this gentleman from Japan taught me how to do the voice. And And the other thing I love is in Pokemon 2000. And it was kind of the first dramatic thing for Oak to do. I had some really nice serious things, but at the end, we pull up at the penultimate moment in a Jeep, and I jump out, and in the video, Oak does this, and there was a line there about something about his back, and I just didn't feel comfortable, and I said to them, "Can I try something?" And they said, "Yeah, go ahead." So when he did that, I went, "Ooh, my lumbago," and then when I heard it in the movie, it killed, and I was so glad I did that. So that's my favorite moment.
Awesome. Eddie?
I just assume that I don't remember because I was, so drunk for that time. But if whatever Michael tells me was my best one, would be probably the one I would go for. But now I'm in recovery, so I can review them and let you know next time.
Yeah, I'm also, doing a podcast, which I guess about 90% of the people here also have. And I've been going back each episode by episode, but I'm a bad procrastinator. I only have 8 episodes. But I think my favorite one is one I haven't gotten to yet, which is the one where Ash meets Charmander. With that heart-rending, stellar performance by me that was not recognized by the Academy in any way. But I think that was fun, and there were probably a lot of other fun ones, but I haven't gotten to them yet. So.
I like the Pikachu ketchup episode. That just still cracks me up. Pikachu discovers that Pikachu loves ketchup. There's just ketchup everywhere. It's very funny.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your answers. I think we're going to turn it over to the crowd for some questions. Let's give a round of applause real quick for them for answering some questions for us, all right? I think we got a microphone right over here. If you guys want to stand in line and get in a queue, and feel free to ask me questions, all right? Up first.
Hi there. This one's kind of for the whole panel. So when you have Pokemon fans coming up to your table asking for an autograph, and they request a quote from you, what is one of the most common quotes they get, and can we hear it in the character's voice, please?
Char Char. No, I'm just kidding.
That's my thing. For me, it's char 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 or say.
Totally,
Either your Pokemon will be just fine, or next time use the driveway.
sit back, hold on, and don't yell. I choose you!
I had it a second ago. There is people ask me to do the early bird gets the worm, but in this case, the Pokemon.
I think you know what's coming.
Meowth, that's right.
Next question? Are we done? Next question?
Hey guys, I promise I'll be super quick, I promise. But I just want to say, while I can't talk for everybody here, I had probably one of the greatest childhoods of anybody could ever ask for, and it's all because of every single one of you guys. And I really hope the rest of the convention can hear me, because we owe everything to you guys, and we became the people we are now all because of y'all. So just thank you so much for that. The question, and I'm sorry, I'll make this quick, but what is the most wholesome thing y'all guys have ever experienced from the show, from a fan, from a critic, from whatever? What's the most wholesome thing that made you go you know what? I don't care if they come and pay now. This is all worth it.
Totally. I think it's hearing everyone's stories about how they met their best friends, how they got through school, how they, all of these real stories that people share. And for me, I've seen kids when they were 10, and I've seen them now years later bringing their own kids to see me, and that's been beyond amazement.
I'm raising my little nephew on the Pokemon series. I dusted off all the old videos, and he learned the theme song at 4 years old. And I am so proud of him.
Way to go!
Yes.
Get him over here, okay?
After his mom, she's killing me.
I think hearing from people who say, "You were my whole childhood," is like a huge statement to hear from somebody, and And just to say, you know, they come to the table and I go, hello there, and they start to shake and regress to a 10-year-old. It's just an unbelievable experience to know that touched them in that way, and that I don't take it for granted. I'm very grateful for it.
It's a great question, and I think the thing is that what makes it hard to answer is that actually what Stuart just said about, you know, when people say things like that, it's actually kind of hard for me to like get my head around it. It's a little overwhelming in itself. And so it's like smaller things, and as I said, I'm relatively new to the experience of meeting all of the fans and the people who grew up on it. But I was in London during my in Dublin actually, and I met a lot of people who were in their in their 30s and stuff, who were the age when we started, 10, 11, 12 years old. But then a dad brought his little girl, who was probably about 10 years old at that point, and after I signed something for her and handed it over, she presented me with a piece of art that she had made of Meowth that was really beautifully done in colored pencil, and I had never received fan art or an piece of art from a fan before, so I just assumed that she wanted it signed, and so I said, "Oh, this is so beautiful, you want me to sign it for you?" And the thing that got me, and I'll just never forget, was when she just said, "Oh, no, that's a gift for you, I made that for you." And there's just a little Irish girl, I mean, it was like, she couldn't have been cuter. And I just was like, it captured something really that I could actually just feel that connection, and I was just like, a new generation, everything like that, who was still watching and was still actually watching the original stuff. I'd say that will always stick with me, because it was also my kind of first moment like that.
Just very quickly, because Psyduck always has the headaches, I have many people who have come up to me, one particular woman I remember, but even here, half a dozen at least, and now I ask people that Psyduck is like their spirit animal, they say, because they suffer from migraines. And this one woman was like, she really was into it, and she's like, Psyduck really, whenever I was really just completely devastated by the headaches, I would just, concentrate on Psyduck and things like that. And it was really, it's very moving to people have such deep experiences with Pokemon. I mean, I was lucky. I just lucked into the job, and to hear the wonderful things and nice things from everybody that they say, it really just chokes you up sometimes. It does me. I'm sure I speak for other people here. It's just a lovely experience, and everybody who comes up is just so nice, and it's just so lucky to be involved with this.
A little girl came up to me at another convention, missing her 2 front teeth, and she goes, "You have short hair, only boys have short hair." And I said, "Nice teeth." And then her parents said, "Oh, this is Megan, she does the voice of Nurse Joy." And I said, "Your Pokemon will be just fine." And she goes, "I can't even do that."
Nice teeth sounded like a little bit of Mrs. Valentine versus some of that attitude. All right, before we go to the next question, there's a lot of you, so let's keep the questions a little short and sweet. That way we got to get to as much as you guys possible, okay? So
Thank you guys, and
next
happy Mother's
question.
Day.
Sorry, I'm trying not to crash. I just want to say something real quick and point out. Thank you so much. I already know some of you. Veronica, I've met you 3 times already, different cons. Megan, talked to you online. And I can't believe that I'm meeting actually all of you in person. I love you guys so much. I even pretend I'm in the Pokemon world whenever I drive, because I have a back road where I live, and I pretend I'm going to Viridian Forest. So, yeah, I don't know if you guys do that, but anyway.
Attention citizens of Viridian City. Be on the lookout.
Anyway, there's 2 things. I just want to point out that whoever made the Poke Rap, whoever did the pictures, they messed up on 2 Pokemon because they showed it twice. They showed when they do Geodude and Growler, they show Geodude twice, and then Poliwag and Poliwhirl, they do it at the same time. So whoever did that, they need to correct it. And I noticed, and I really wish Ash would have started keeping doing the hat thing. And I love the hat thing where you turn it backwards. And I like when Brock fights over you and you. He fawns over you. But anyway, my part A question is, I've been wanting to ask this to Michael, and I already talked to you about it, and Veronica. Where do Ash, Misty, and Brock get the freaking money to buy the stuff every time they go to a store?
They couldn't possibly steal it.
Because every time I see an episode, they always go to a restaurant or a shop. They come out with bags, and when they go, here's some potion. Where do you get the money?
It's a bartering situation there.
Okay.
I think the sponsors paid them on the side. I'm not supposed to say
Okay,
that.
part B, I've been finding out they've been making live action stuff of different animes. If there were a live action Pokemon TV series or in a movie, which I know is coming out later, who would you guys want to see play your characters or CGI Pokemon voices?
Us. I mean, we've already been replaced once, so I don't think we need to do that anymore.
I would love to see that.
You've tried the best, now try the rest.
Okay, stick with us. Just no rhymes. Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys come back next
Oh
year.
my gosh, it's like we're, wow. Thank you so much. Yeah. Amazing.
A
You look
reminder,
so
let's keep the
good.
questions real short. 'Cause
Okay.
we got about 5 minutes till we got to go to the next show, guys. So.
Okay, we'll go fast.
Hello, thank you all for being here. Thanks for being some of my very first friends. I really appreciate it. I was wondering if there was like a cool or special item that y'all got signed doing conventions. I know you just started, but if there was anything that was really cool or special that resonated that y'all were able to sign.
I think definitely pictures that people have drawn. I got a large Diglett one time, which was pretty amazing.
I don't know. I would just say probably anything that was anything that was like from the first movie, things of that nature, or like the old VHS. Very cool. But
VHS, that
anything
kills me.
that
People
is
still have it.
personal that people have brought, that they've done or made or whatnot, is that really resonates.
A fan came to one con that I did with a carpet of Professor Oak's face. I mean, it was like huge, so I held it over my own face. And I refused, I'm not going to step on it, I'm going to actually frame it and put it on the wall. So many.
So yeah, 2 more questions. Let's go.
We might be able to get through really fast.
Yeah.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
If you pick any Pokemon as a partner, who would it be? Not the one you already have. Just any Pokemon. Who would you want?
Pikachu. Would you live with a Growlithe?
Always.
Chansey, so helpful.
Nobody says Meowth. I don't know. I know.
Not Snorlax and not Muck.
Next.
Thank you for the childhood, guys. When I came back from Mexico, Pokemon was the first show I watched in English that helped me learn the language. So thank you. But quick question, I know life gets hard. What's an advice you can give to your fans so we can keep going and not give up in our dreams?
Great question. A badge that you would get?
No, how do you keep going? What's advice to not give up? I think it's hard to answer that quickly.
I try
Believe
to eat
in
a lot
yourself.
of fiber. That's it. I would say. I saw that on TV.
I would say, in all sincerity, if you look at the bigger picture, because we are all just a small drop in this giant pond, and oftentimes you think it's all about you, but it never is. It's about your relationships with people, it's about your purpose in life, and it's about thinking beyond and outside yourself to what part you play in this whole big Pokemon world. And so I think it's look outside yourself, and from that you can see inside in a better way.
All right, and we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more quick questions.
Oh, hi Travis. Hi, before you go, I would just want to add something to Veronica's great answer there. I think something that I've been working on, but I think it's like wisdom of the ages that's really, really true, is do not expend energy worrying about what other people think about you at all. Be yourself, be the best you can be at whatever you do and in your relationships. And that's like fuel for going on and on and on. It's just like all that other stuff holds you back, and it's really about letting go of that kind of thing and just be yourself.
Consider random acts of kindness.
Yeah.
What you give comes back to you. So.
All right, last quick question. What you got for us?
Who is the #1 Pokemon master with the legendary Labrador of all time?
That's you, Travis. I choose you.
All right, guys, let's give a round of applause for our panel.
You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for sitting over here and listening to us over here. Great guys,
Thanks to
thank you.
NostalgiaCon for having us. This
Thank
has
you
been
for
super
coming.
great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, there we go. Round of applause.
I'm gonna put him on the face. I'm gonna wear him. That's why I got him to wear him. So it's part of the concept. But you know what? Like, you know, that, I'm just trying to be a hard ass. I sit on the house.